Hello my guys, gals, and non-binary pals, and welcome back to another video. So it is the first week of a new month, if you haven't already noticed. Welcome to January. It's a new year. It's 2022 now, and it feels like 2021 just started. But besides meaning it's a new year, it also means that it's time for a new OC video. So once a month I redesign, change up their whole stories and designs for my characters in a universe I have called Main High. If you aren't an avid viewer of this series, I'd recommend for this video you at least watch the first one, which is Haley's video that gives context for the universe, and you watch last month's video, which is Clyde, because that will give more context for the character. Also, please subscribe. It's almost my 1-year YouTube anniversary, and I've been trying to hit 2K for a few months now, and I'd like to reach it by the time I reach a year. So if you want to help make that happen, make sure to hit that subscribe button, and on with the video. So this is Carmen, and she is my other child character that's like a main character in this series. So like all these videos, I'm going to start with her old backstory, which, like most videos as well, is really dark. I don't know what it is about younger me being really into super dark backstories, but this one's also like horrible and traumatic. I don't know why so many of my characters are like this, but oh well. So, Carmen at some sort of young age, at least a few years before that, she got in a car crash that killed her parents and ripped her vocal cords to shreds. Now, did I know how medically plausible this was? No. Did I write this anyway? Yes. So after this horrible event, she became mute and also was adopted by Clyde's mom. This is why you should watch the video about Clyde. After that, if you watch that video, you know Clyde's mom isn't really there for them that much. She more adopted them she pitied them and wanted to show off to her friends how good of a person she was. And since Carmen was mute, it's like, oh, look at this troubled child, I'm gonna help her, such a good person. So since she's not really that active of a parent, Clyde kind of takes over parenting her because he's actually, like a teenager at the very least. So it's better than just Carmen being on her own as a 9-year-old trying to take care of herself. And in the original story, interestingly enough, she didn't go to Main High. She was the only character out of the main 12 that didn't go to Main High. I don't know. I think at one point I just expected like Clyde was going to like have this whole arc where he's trying to get back to Earth to save her, and eventually she'd show up, I guess. Or maybe she was just going to be there solely for the purpose of this Clyde arc that I made. She didn't have magic, wasn't special in any way, just an ordinary human. Then we move on to her personality. So she did have a bit of personality originally, but not really too much. I just knew that she was shy, and that was like the only character trait I gave her. So I built off of that a little bit. With the child characters, I don't give them as much of a unique personality, I guess. But shy still isn't a personality, so she's still shy, doesn't like being the center of attention, but now she also has insecurities. Wow. So due to like Clyde always taking care of her and being, I guess, this huge stressor for Clyde, since he is like this teenager who now has to look after a child on top of every other thing a teenager has to do in an already stressful family environment. So Carmen recognizes that she's making his life a lot more stressful, and that definitely like affects her, makes her feel like, more of a burden than something he loves and, needs to have around. This causes her to, like, always want to help and be useful in some way. So a lot of times she'll, like, go out of her way to try and help Clyde, or just help around the house, do something nice to make Clyde's life easier. And usually it just leads to, more problems and some mess that Clyde has to clean up, and then Carmen feels worse, and it's a horrible cycle. But she really tries her best to, like, help out as much as she can. She's also very empathetic, really kind. Due to this kind of constant strive to help out with Clyde, it's kind of led her to be the same in all aspects of life. She always wants to help people, and if she can help, she will. And even if she can't, she'll probably try. Now for her new story. God, I feel like I'm speeding through this. There's not too much to talk about with her. This is probably gonna be one of the shorter OC videos. So her story is kind of similar, but like I've been having to do since all the recent stories are really dark, and they only keep getting darker. So I just kind of took her original story and made it less sad. So sometime when she was a baby, young enough where she couldn't remember this time, her parents died. I don't know how, maybe I'll figure that out sometime, but for now, it's not too important how. And then while she was still a baby, she was adopted by Clyde's mom once again. And this time she was born mute instead of having to go through a car crash that, like, I don't even know how possible it is to survive that, but yeah, she doesn't have to go through that this time. So, once again, she becomes Clyde's sister. Clyde kind of, like, parents her. Then whenever Clyde and Peach meet, Clyde and Peach, they become friends, so that once Clyde goes to Main High, Peach kind of steps up and takes care of her, because Peach is, like, aware of their family situation. She's met Carmen before, and obviously after Clyde goes missing, Peach is gonna check up on her best friend, and so she's made aware that Carmen's kind of alone. I mean, like, there's some workers at the house, there's the mom. That's not really enough for her. So Peach takes over that role and kind of becomes Carmen's caretaker, which leads to Carmen getting involved with Peach and Alex's quest in discovering what happened to all these disappearances that have been occurring. So Carmen's obviously, she can't help that much, but she tries to help any way she can, which isn't very much, but even if she can't actually do that much, she's always there for emotional support. And just to be the kind of, I don't know how to describe it. Like, I don't know, she does all the little work that's easy enough for her to do, and I don't know, she's just a little helper. Does any little task she can that helps them out. Then, like always, I made a final drawing to kind of test out her design, see how it works, practice actually putting it into use. So Carmen doesn't have that much going on, honestly. She doesn't have any powers, any hobbies, not really any friends. Kind of sad life, but this makes it really hard for me to come up with some sort of drawing to make to kind of, like, showcase all these elements. So I just kind of went for that little helper thing I just talked about. So I just drew her carrying a stack of papers. This is what I mean. She probably does little tasks like that, just carrying around their papers, holding a camera, little things like that. So yeah, it was a pretty basic concept, not too much going on. I could have at least done a background, but I didn't even do that. Yeah, I really didn't put in that much effort for this one. This is, like, similar to the drawing I made for Evie, if any of you watched that, where it's just kind of her doing something and then a colored background. Though, for this drawing, I did something that I don't usually do and I usually avoid, and it's the walking/running position. Now, honestly, that's not too hard to draw. So I don't know why every time I try to draw someone like walking or running, I have so much trouble. I think it has something to do with like me struggling to understand the proportions of a human and where a knee is. So every time I draw someone with like a leg bent, it looks kind of wild and super long because I don't understand where a knee goes. This time I think it's actually the leg's a bit too long, it looks like, but it's not that bad. I guess it's kind of hard to tell since she has boots on, but I don't know, it's good enough. If I don't like eventually scrap it and just have her standing there, then that's when you know I've made a good enough walking position. Because in a ton of my videos, you can see me start out planning to draw someone walking or running, and then eventually giving up. Like the first one that comes to mind is the September video. But you know, this time I actually did it, so at least something interesting happened in this drawing. Oh, I did also have like the scarf kind of being pushed back to show motion. I don't usually think about that. Like I never really take too much consideration into hair moving and stuff. But I did the scarf. There's some things to be proud of. I mean, I don't know if proud is the word, but I did something. Gotta give me credit for that. I did also have some trouble with the hands, partially because of like figuring out what angle each of the hands would be at based on like how the papers are turned, how her body's turned. I think I did okay with that. And then also, God, I hate drawing thumbs. I'm very inconsistent with drawing thumbs. Sometimes I'll draw thumbs, sometimes I'll even draw fingers for someone, but usually I'll kind of scrap the thumbs because, God, I hate drawing them. And I really need to just pick a way to draw and stick with it. Like, choose thumbs or no fingers. But I don't know. I don't want to draw thumbs every time, but sometimes you gotta draw thumbs, you know? But here I decided to chuck on the thumb because it looked kind of weird without the thumb. Now that I'm thinking about it, yeah, her hand's definitely backwards. The thumb goes on the other side. Yeah, I made the thumb backwards. Okay. The other hand should have the thumb showing, which I didn't draw. We love to figure out these mistakes right now. I would have loved to have thought about that before I finished the drawing and went to record. Oh well, she can have a backwards hand, it's fine. No one will notice. It took me this long to notice that her hand was backwards. Well, I guess I did just point out, so now everyone's noticed. Just pretend you didn't notice then. Comment about how perfectly normal her hand is angled. When I finished like drawing her, comparing her to the reference, she looks a bit different. I think in the reference, I made her head like really wide, or maybe I just made it like shorter with the space between the scarf and her bangs. So her head proportions definitely changed in this drawing, but I think I like them both fine. This is probably better because it looks more in my style, but the other does a very good job of looking childish. I don't know. They're good sides to both of them, but I think I like how this one looks. Also, her hair is a bit different. It's really hard to like pin down exactly how to draw her hair. I tried to make it slightly better. Oh my god, I never talked about how I changed her design. Oh no. I actually like took the special love and care to go ahead and look up an old video to see exactly what formula I used for talking, what like pattern I used to talk about the drawings. We're gonna speedrun her design changes. Wow, this is a chaotic video. It's fun. So I made her hair just kind of make more sense by actually having clear direction and not being whatever that old one was, but with keeping the same kind of shape and overall feeling. Then I put on a scarf instead of a mask because with the exclusion of the pandemic, no one really wears masks in America, and mute people wearing masks was just like a trope to visually convey that, and I didn't want to do that anymore. So I gave her a scarf because I feel like her kind of hiding does help convey her personality. Then I kept the sweater she had, but I removed the overalls because Sam has overalls and she's the other child, and I want them to be different enough. And then, yeah, the rest is just pretty simple. And her color palette, I chose yellow. It was already fairly yellow. I just went with yellow and made everything different shades of yellow. Okay, there. Design process done. I'm definitely going to have to look this up again and fix it before I make the next OC video, but it's okay. We get one chaotic video for this series. Then the drawing was coming to an end, so I just made the background of blue shades since blue goes well with yellow. I used a clipping mask to make the lines darker shades of the colors they are. Then I shaded. For like the first time in forever, I didn't shade using black because I wasn't feeling lazy and there's not that many colors. Then it was done. So yeah, it's pretty simple. Not much going on, but I like it. It's cute. It doesn't really tell you much about her, but I don't know. What do you want from me? It's good enough. Anyway, if you like this video, please make sure to like and subscribe. Also, comment down below any questions you have about the character or the universe. And while you're down there commenting, make sure to go to the description and follow all my social media down there. And I will see you all next